Okay, part 2 to this series. If you watched the resistor gas gauge video, you'll know that the gas tank's already dropped. What happened was I started modifying this transmitter. You can see like this tab's heavily bent. I did some grinding here, and I shortened up this our float arm to the point where this needs to be replaced. It just isn't right anymore. I was chasing the wrong rabbit. I thought it was a defective part from the factory as far as tank ink in this transmitter. I was wrong. This transmitter was perfectly good, and it was the resistor and the gas gauge. So I went to Summit, got us another transmitter, and we're just going to replace it, get us all back to spec. I'm going to make the arm longer, try to calibrate the gauge a little bit, because this was bone dry. I mean it has maybe a gallon in it or something, and the transmitter is still showing like a quarter of a tank. So we don't want that. We want it to be accurate. So right now, pretty much I want it to say E when it's this low. So that's going to be part of what we're playing around with, and I'm going to take you all along the journey. Well, here's our transmitter. And believe it or not, it looks probably wrong, but actually reading the instructions, it says we need to take the depth of the tank, divide it by 3, and then add 1/8. So our tank's 5.5 inches deep, which is 2.75 or 2 3/4. We added 8 to it. We came out with 2.8. So I went ahead and did it to about 3. And if you notice, what we're doing is we're taking the mounting plate and down to the resistor screw. So just we'll walk this together. So you can see I'm actually right there at it. So then we took that. Then it says take our float arm until top of float is approximately at 1/8 below the bottom of the plate. So I took 2 of our machinist rulers, stacked them, ran it level, brought it up until it was bottomed out here and there, and you can see we got our gap. And then it tells us move the pivot point. Nope, that same thing. Cut off our excess, which we did. Now the lowest part is our resistor. We took everything back apart and blew it out. So this is a big difference than where we were before. We're going to do something different with our ground here. I do not care for it, and because I had to cut it again, so I'm going to put a quick disconnect on that. But this will be a little bit easier to put back into the car. My only other fear is will it actually read empty truly? So let's see. Sorry, camera. So we're 5.5. Yeah. So that should put us right at a true empty state. So that's going to read empty and should read full. And I thought I could make the arm longer, but you really can't by how shallow of a tank this is. And to give it a true half tank, you can't. So now I'm going to get back under the car and I'm going to put everything back together. So we have the transmitter back in its position. That gauge probably shouldn't move at all, and it doesn't. It is E. So transmitter's back in place. It's just these O-ringed screws here. This is the brown wire goes to our gauge. This is a chassis ground, and that's it. So we're good on that now. I wound up I'm gonna do a separate video. We're gonna put a 400 gallons per, is it gallons or liters per hour pump in here? Either way, it's 400, it's 255 in it now. We're gonna upgrade that. We think this one's going out, but like I said, that'd be a separate video. But that's your transmitter and your fuel tank for your El Camino A-body with a tank ink swap. Appreciate it. Please leave a comment below. Ask questions. I would appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and on to the next one.